Hi everyone, I'm Robbie from the PocketLab team, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about this integration that we now have in PocketLab Notebook with PhET simulations. So for those of you that don't know, PocketLab Notebook is our online digital lab notebook that you can use to create science lessons that use PocketLab sensors, that use PhET simulations, that use other tools, and you can create those lessons and assign them to students, and students can work on those lessons. You can monitor their progress, give them feedback, etc. So with a free account with PocketLab Notebook, it's free. You can create up to 35 student accounts. And then on our pro level, you can get 200 or more students as well. So let me show you a little bit of how PocketLab Notebook works. We have a library of lessons for you to use. You can also create your own lessons. So let's go ahead and check out a lesson that uses both PhET and PocketLab. So this one, investigating an object's motion. You have PocketLab here on a track, and as it goes down the track, the PocketLab is measuring the cart's acceleration. And then here you have a PhET simulation that you can use to investigate balanced and unbalanced forces and relate that to the data that you're collecting with your PocketLab sensor. So there's a lab that we've written that goes through all that. You can check that out. And those are the types of things that you can do with PocketLab Notebook. And then we have a number of different PhET simulation or labs that use PhET simulations here on our lesson library. I want to show you quickly, I want to create my own lesson here, and I'll show you how to do that. And I'm going to kind of go through how you can take a PhET simulation and model something in the simulation and then apply that to an experiment that you do in real life and collect data live with your PocketLab sensor and kind of see how that that can help you understand some principles that you're investigating. So here I've started a lab in our notebook, and this is, I added a little text card and I wrote scientific question. How are potential energy, kinetic energy, and position related? And this is going to use one of my personal favorite PhET simulations, and many people out there who have used PhET know about this. This is the energy skate park simulation. So I click that little PhET button there on this toolbar, and that adds different elements to my lesson. And I'm going to go here, physics, and I'm going to find energy skate park. So I'm going to click on that. And it's going to load the simulation. I'm going to click this intro one, and now I have this skater here on this half pipe. And I can add a bar graph that is going to show the changes between potential and kinetic energy as the skater goes up and down the ramp. And here I have a data table that I can fill in where I talk about what's the kinetic energy at the top of the ramp, halfway down the ramp, the bottom of the ramp, what's the potential energy, what's the speed. I can add a little speed speedometer there to get that data. So I can, with Notebook, you can add these data tables and some charts to help you gather data from the simulation. But now let's take it a step further and connect our PocketLab. And behind me here, I have a PocketLab Voyager attached to a can of soup, and I'm going to use a feature that we have for PocketLab Voyager called Velocity Lab. I'm going to connect Velocity Lab, and we're going to use that to measure position, velocity, and acceleration of the can of soup as it rolls up and down this little half pipe ramp that I have here. So I'm going to go ahead and get connected. For this, I'm really not going to need acceleration, so let's just look at position and velocity. And now, here I have my can of soup, and you can see as I roll it back and forth on the ramp, you can see the position and velocity here measured. So I'm going to start recording, and I'm going to roll my can of soup up the ramp. Let it go, and I can see the position and velocity change there. So what we can conclude from our data is that when the can of soup was near the bottom of the ramp as it went down the ramp and got close to the bottom, that's when the speed was the fastest. It was about 2 miles per hour. You can see that here in the velocity graph. And when the can of soup came back up to the top of the ramp, that's when the velocity was about 0. So does that match up with our simulation? Well, let's look. Here, the skater, when he's at the bottom of the ramp, look at his speed. That's pretty fast. And when he's back up at the top of the ramp, the speed is about 0. So you can then take this a step further and actually calculate the potential and kinetic energy of the can of soup from the speed, from the mass of the can of soup, etc. And you can then start to investigate things like friction and thermal energy as well. So that's kind of the basics of how you can use these PhET simulations along with PocketLab Notebook and with PocketLab sensors to do some really interesting and fun activities that you can do with your students. So I'd encourage you to go ahead and check out the PocketLab.com and click on Notebook, and you can go ahead and get started. Thanks so much.